Shall we begin?
Why not? Welcome to Frankie Sense and More. It's like she's got a whole lot of goodness for you with a little bit of sass.
Frankie, did you just say...
She sure did. Not to mention, along with...
Whoops.
Join us now as Frankie Picasso and her new co-host mix it up with authors, musicians, and interviews with world-changing people.
Let's begin now.
Okay, let's begin now, because it only makes sense.
And hello there, and welcome back to Frankie Sense and More 2017. I am so glad to be back. First show of the year, and I've got some amazing guests coming on. First, I wanted to just let you know that my website's back. Yay! It's sort of back. It's up. It's working. I have a web presence again. I am a real person now. We will be working and tweaking, but at least we're back. If you remember, just before Christmas, my cPanel had been hacked and everything was thrown out. All 4 of my websites. Oh, it's like horrendous. You know, I wouldn't want it to happen to anybody. It's really a violation. Up on deck today, we have Nicole Zweircan. She is the current reigning Mrs. Illinois, and she'll be speaking to us about her life and her passion to be kind, her nonprofit to end bullying. Also with us today is Luci McMonagle, an abundance breakthrough coach who will share with us 3 tips on how to triumph in your life by understanding your money story. I wonder what that's all about. First, I have an update. Just before Christmas, Shivani Singh of Pathfinder left Canada to travel to the Syrian refugee camps to distribute Christmas gifts. She was making some toys and candies, and she brought warm blankets. It's freezing over there. And here at the Good Radio, as you know, radio that does a world of good, we like to partner and support those who are changing the world, like Shivani and her partner Jessica from Pathfinder Social Enterprise. Their mission was to visit the refugee camps along the western Syrian border, coming in through Lebanon. But it was not without its ups and downs. They set out to raise a modest amount of money, which they did. They wanted to buy and deliver critical supplies for the children most affected by the Syrian war, and we certainly helped them with that. While the mission was simple in theory, it turned out to be far more complicated in reality. Shivani was detained for several hours in Beirut. She was denied entry without just cause. She was rerouted to Cairo, where she was able to get the mission back on track. Yay. They were relieved, and they had exceeded their goal by reaching over 500 children, including the well-known orphans who were recently evacuated from Aleppo. And more details are expected over the next few minutes. I know that she was making a video documentary. There, one loose end, about 75 pounds of hand-wrapped gifts brought over from Canada weren't distributed. So on New Year's Day, the woman she is, Shivani, decided to visit the Al-Waldi orphanage in Cairo, and she distributed the goodies to their youngest children. And she said the kids' reactions was delightful. They were overjoyed, appreciative, and downright adorable. There's some pictures on their blog. You can go and look at it at pathfindersocent.com. So that's just really great news, and it really warms my heart. Let's bring on Nicole. Nicole Zweircan is the current reigning, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, the reigning Mrs. Illinois 2016. She's a certified public speaker, member of the International Bullying Prevention Association, as well as the International Association on Workplace Bullying and Harassment. She's the developer of the app Kindness Crossing Borders, a founder of the nonprofit organization Be Kind, Make a Difference, which features the community outreach program, The Kindness Crew. Nicole's a graduate of the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, earning a bachelor's degree in fine arts. She also earned a degree in dental hygiene from Kennedy King and University of Illinois at Chicago College of Dentistry. She has an extensive background in dance. She was chosen as a Chicago leader for a national company that mentors young women on how to be successful, both inside and outside of the dance world. And as the reigning Mrs. Illinois International 2016, she made it her mission to break the stigma that bullying only happens to children and teens. Her message is bullying does not discriminate. And recently, having competed for Mrs. International 2016, Nicole was named first runner-up and was able to deliver her message on an international stage among 61 ladies all over the world. Wow. Nicole, first I got to say welcome. That's a lot going on in your young life.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be on the show today.
We're excited to have you. And I know that you have a personal story. You were a victim of bullying yourself, not only as a child, but also as an adult. So maybe you can share a little bit of your story
Sure,
and
absolutely.
let people know how it all started for you.
Absolutely. I think I'm proof that bullying can happen to anyone at any age. So I think that the more we talk about these situations, the more we find that it's not something that is isolated. It's something that happens to so many people. I think the recent statistics say that 1 out of 6 adults are bullied at work, which is outstanding to me. It's just crazy to me that continues to happen. And yet we don't hear about it very much. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, to look at you, I mean, you're stunningly beautiful. You don't, to me, fit the profile of somebody who would be bullied. You would be like the popular girl. But yet the mean girls, and
that's interesting. And that's interesting. And I think that's one of the things I've tried to do this year is break the stigmas that surround bullying. There is no specific person who is targeted. It can be wrong place at the wrong time. And, there are some slight differences when it comes to kid bullying to adult bullying. But when it comes to who is chosen to be the target of bullying, it really varies. And if anything, this year has really taught me that I've had successful doctors reach out to me. I've had athletes reach out to me. I've had housewives reach out to me that they're bullied in their own communities, mom shaming. It's a terrible thing. So this has been a really eye-opening experience for me, as well as me to try to raise awareness that there is no stereotypical target of bullying.
So there's no common thread. Like, I mean, I look at it, I go to a dog park every week, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And at the dog park, it's usually the very, very submissive dog who gets attacked right away.
Yeah. And,
you were shy. You said that you were shy in high school.
Well, no, in high school, I was actually okay. I think high school was a great time for me. It was more grade school that I think that I was so interested in trying to be part of a group that I necessarily didn't belong with, that I think possibly that could have made me be a target. That could have put me on, you don't belong here. Why are you here? That type of thing. As an adult, I think that it's really interesting. Sometimes it's the managers, sometimes it's the bosses, not all of them. But,
right.
They'll target employees for certain specific reasons. I was a new employee. I think I had so much ambition. I had so much excitement. I really wanted to do well. I really wanted to be successful. And I think sometimes that could be misunderstood and cause you to stand out, to be a target, put a target on your back. And I think that in my case, personally, that is something that happened. And the more that I hear some situations, it can be the fact that you don't necessarily share the same beliefs as your employers or employees. Mm-hmm. You have different ideas. You are maybe threatening their position. And these are things that, people don't like, if you're going against the mold, you're either going to meet some sort of, resistance. And
but you were a new hire in a dental office.
Sure.
And your manager bullied you basically.
Yeah.
And I mean, what was it? Do you think about? Okay, so you were enthusiastic, you were excited. It's your first job or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But why put a target on your back? Was she like jealous of you? I
think one of the interesting things about when we talk about adult bullies is that's their personality. It's kind of their instinct. It's their go-to. It's their defense mechanism to try to bully you into submission, to try to one-up you, to put you down, or to make you feel bad about yourself in hopes that they can kind of be the superior, the alpha, if you will.
Right.
And that's something that is really interesting. And it's something to look out for is, maybe I didn't know how to handle a personality of that sort. And so I think it's really interesting that when you go into a workplace and you're new, to start to recognize different personalities of specific people and to try to work with those personalities. At the end of the day, you can't change them. You can only change how you react to their actions.
So are you reacting differently then to the child bully and the adult bully? Like your message, is it the same or is it different to those two groups?
That's a really interesting question because, there are similarities and, humiliation is humiliation no matter what age you are, no matter where you experience it, you're still feeling it. It's just how you react that changes. And that comes with maturity, that comes with education, that comes with awareness. When you're younger, your whole world comes crashing down and it's really hard to put things into perspective. That is your world. You see your high school group, you see your grade school group, and it's like the most terrible thing that can happen to you. And as an adult, you worry about different things. You worry about, how am I going to pay my bills if I leave this situation? How am I going to get a great reference for a new job if my manager is the one that is trying to bring me down? So, there are definitely things that you deal with outwardly, and there's things that you deal inwardly with both children and adult bullying.
Now, I mean, again, we look at you. You were a dancer with the NBA. You went into the pageant world. Nobody would look at you and go, "Wow, there's somebody who got bullied."
Right.
It's hard to believe, right?
It is. But
do you recognize other people? Like, can you recognize somebody who's been bullied?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I absolutely can.
What are the signs then?
I think that there are, believe it or not, when someone who's been bullied at work as an adult, you have this tendency to be defensive. And, for me, when I went to my new job, it was a really great atmosphere, and I still found myself being very defensive for no reason. It's kind of residual. The effects kind of carry over with you. Just because you're out of that situation doesn't mean how you felt or how you dealt with things just goes away. So it's really interesting to try to figure out what their past experiences were and how you can help them flourish, get past those barriers that we put up when you've been targeted. And I think for me, I have some friends that probably would never even know what I went through because I was really good at putting it on the back burner. But inside, I think it kind of made me a little bit cold. It made me put these walls up and helped, and kind of guarded me, if you will. I was trying to be guarded. And to me, those are some of the things that I see when I speak to adults is they may come across a little cold, they may come across a little frigid, but I think they're just trying to protect the fact that they're actually really sensitive.
Right. Yeah. And so in your world today, when you go out and about and you talk about bullying to the kids and you talk about bullying to adults, do they share with their family? Like, did you share with your family?
I did. I shared with my mom. My mom was actually one of my biggest supporters going through this situation. And I think I didn't share with my friends because I had all these things going for me on the outside. But on the inside, I was extremely embarrassed. I was embarrassed that I was an adult allowing this, per se, to happen to me. So my mom was somebody that I really confided in. This is before my husband. And my dad, too. And, I think it's important that when you're going through these situations to talk to somebody, you find out a couple things. One, that you're not alone. And two, that you can get past this difficult time. And it's important to keep things into perspective, to focus on the good, and to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's right. We are going to go to a commercial break, Nicole. I'm sorry, I have to stop you.
Perfect.
When we come back, we're going to talk to Luci, and after we speak to Luci, then everybody's going to come back. We're going to have a free for all. We definitely want to hear about life in the pageant world. What's it really like? And you can give us all the juicy bits. How's that?
Wonderful. Absolutely.
Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Frankie Sense and More. My guests today are Nicole Zweircan and Luci McMonagle.
Frankie Sense and More will be right back after we pay the bills.
It's words you never heard.
Did you know 1/3 of population suffers from bad breath? Several years ago, a New York City doorman was actually suspended from work because people were complaining about his bad breath. Other words for foul-smelling breath are halitosis and ozostomia. So, what are common causes of ozostomia? Coffee is a problem because it's very acidic, and bacteria reproduce faster in an acid environment. Candy and gum contain sugar, which is also a problem because sugar feeds the bacteria that cause bad breath. Alcohol is another culprit. What's another name for cheap wine? Plonk, slip slop, or stinky bus.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
Have you ever wondered what happens in your body when you exercise? Discovery Health explains that the muscles provide the strength, power, and endurance to do the movements and exercises. Enzymes within the muscles mobilize various fuels to provide ATP to meet the energy demands of the working muscle. The heart and the blood vessels increase the blood flow to deliver more oxygen to the working muscles. And the lungs increase the rate of breathing to deliver more oxygen to the muscle. The more often you exercise, the more conditioned you become. On the other hand, lack of training causes them to atrophy. So don't settle for being a couch potato. It's time to get your body moving. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond. To hear other fitness and weight loss tips, visit our website at AnnetteHammond.com.
Around. We're so happy that you did. We had a caller while we were on our break, so let's just see who it is, and then I'll introduce you to Lucy. Hi.
Oh, good afternoon, Chicago. This is Roseanne Plot, Mrs. Iowa International, and I wanted to call and wish Nicole, Mrs. Illinois International, hello, and congratulations on a wonderful reign from her sister Queen.
Oh, Roseanne,
That's really
thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, Roseanne. You're amazing. That really just melted my heart. Thank you.
So, Roseanne,
You're
being
welcome.
Mrs. Ohio, is that what you said?
Mrs. Iowa.
Iowa. Yeah, I'm sorry. I bet you people get that mixed up a lot, especially us Canadians. Have you ever experienced bullying?
I did in the workplace, actually, like Nicole, not so much as a student. Where I went to school, it was very frowned upon. But I can tell you, even as an attorney, I have been bullied, especially with the gender issue. And matter of fact, I just experienced it a couple weeks ago in trial, where the male attorney was allowed unlimited time, and then when it got down, it was the end of the day, and I had an important witness. The judge actually very flippantly said to me, "Well, do you think you can do it in 15 minutes?" And that's something that, and the answer was no, Your Honor,
Right.
I can't. This is an important witness. I hope you would give me as much time as you gave my counter counsel. But when I went in to actually lodge a complaint with court administration, they said, "You're not the first one to come in and complain about
This particular judge?
I'm sorry, yes, with that
the particular judge or that issue?
With that particular judge and that issue, with that judge.
Yeah.
So it isn't everything, and you have to be strong and know your rights and do it professionally and know the proper avenues. And I worked with Nicole, and I provided her kind of a top 10 list that you can arm yourself with at work, and it knows no age, gender, or really profession, and it is out there,
Sure.
unfortunately, and you have to be aware of it, especially, I think, sometimes if you're a woman.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for calling and for giving Nicole good wishes and joining us on Frankie Sense today.
Well, and thank you for
it.
having me, and thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Roseanne. Bye.
Well, up next, we have the Abundance Breakthrough Coach, Luci McMonagle. And Lucy, as I said, was going to share with us her top 3 tips on how to triumph in your life by understanding your money story. And Lucy, I'm sorry. I don't know why that just got me, but that's really weird. I'm so sorry. Lucy, you grew up in poverty. Your life was filled with tragedy, but you took a stand to reclaim your own personal power. And despite all the odds, you rose to become a top influencer as an abundance breakthrough coach and a speaker. And you blended your spirituality with practicality. And today you help creative women entrepreneurs manifest more money, more freedom, and more joy in their life. Now, who doesn't want that? Tell us how you do it. Welcome.
So, well, one of the main things, thank you, Frankie. I really appreciate you having me on the show. And I want to thank all of the tech people that are helping, and Nicole too. And one of the main things that I do is we really find out what is your belief system about money and how did you grow up in regards to how do you feel about money and how do you perceive money in your life?
Because you say that everybody has a money story, and that's what you mean by your money story, your belief system around money?
Yes, everybody has a money story, and a money story can be positive if you worked on it, or it could be negative. A money story, as an example, is if you, when you were a child, if your parents fought about money, and they didn't have money conversations with you, they didn't discuss with you why you should save or why you should do this or why you should do that, then you as a child have your own conceived notions on what money is. So let's say you're 6 or 7, your parents are always fighting about money, they get divorced.
Right.
Well, you grow up and you think, oh my God, money's going to make me lose the person I love the most.
Right. Got it. Yeah. And also I think, if your parents or people in your life thought that rich people were horrible people, and then you would grow up and you would think, well, I can't be rich because people think we're horrible. That kind of idea, right? And I know as a coach too that we have these what we call in coaching underlying automatic commitments, and so that may even be, consciously these people want to be rich and want to have lots of money, but unconsciously they don't even know it that they don't want it, and so you have to go and dig for that money story, I guess, and that's what you do.
Yes, absolutely. We dig
Awesome.
for the money story, and there's some really quick questions you can ask yourself. And just paying attention, and all of a sudden it'll show up real quick as soon as you start looking.
Mm-hmm. So how do people start to think about what's my story? And is it, so would you look at yourself and you say, well, I know I want to make 50,000 or 100. Like I know that you've got a course coming up how to make $100,000 a year at least consistently, and so would you look and say, well, I know I want to make $100,000. I'm not, currently I make $20,000. I've never made $100,000. What is stopping me? And what can I turn around in my life to allow that to flow to me? Is that kind of what you do?
That's kind of like what I do, but what I do is I have individuals write down what was the memories that they have in regards to how their mom felt about money, how their father felt about money, or their care providers. If they did not grow up with a mother and a father, they might have grown up with grandparents. And then to determine whether or not those belief systems that their parents had is something that they want to continue in their life. And then they have to look for circumstances on where do I keep creating this in my life. And every time you start noticing those behaviors, you stop yourself first. Mm-hmm, you pay attention to, oh, I'm starting to go there. Or maybe sometimes you catch it after you've already done it. And not to beat yourself up, because this is an automatic response. Mm-hmm. It's something that's so ingrained in you that sometimes you're not even noticing it until afterwards. And then from there, you tell yourself and you remind yourself, oh, that was the old me. That was the me that used to be the poor girl. That was me that used to be the poor boy. And now this is the new me. I am becoming the wealthy influencer. I'm becoming, and then you state what you choose to become.
Gotcha. One of my kids is exactly like my mom. She's a real saver. She's now 28 years old. She has like a ton of money in the bank. And so I've never had as much money as she ever had in the bank, tell you the truth. It's funny how the story goes, because both my parents know how to make money and save money. And I believe in using my money, spending my money, and just magically it will reappear. Like that's kind of been my money philosophy my whole life. It's kind of strange. Knock on wood, it's kind of worked for me. But the last couple of years it didn't. And then this is a funny story, but a friend of mine, she came out with her money frog. It was a feng shui money frog. And she said, oh, I have one of these. And ever since I got it, I started getting money. And I got one for myself at Christmas, and it's sitting on my desk, and it's facing east and away from the door. And you know what? I've been getting money ever since.
Yes, I love the money frogs. I have one myself.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I think I need one of those.
You need a money frog, Nicole. Everybody needs one. I don't know if it's just the allowing that the belief system that, oh, money can come, you can come to me now, I'm open to you, or what, if the feng shui is really working, but it seems to be working.
It's a combination of all. Feng Shui really works on the energetic level of your belief systems. And so if you can transfer your belief system into, oh my gosh, I've got a money frog and this works for other people, so it has to work for me, mm-hmm. then you are starting to override your other belief systems.
Right. So it's a law of attraction. You know, I mean, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that the money's coming and all of that. But the law of attraction really is about your belief system and energy and looking. And if you can't believe that it can happen to you, at least you can get to the part where I believe it can happen to other people and work your way up to it can happen to me.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I love it. So, you know, my dad told me as a young girl, take $10 or $20, whatever you can, and put it away. Put it in a bank account every single week. And that's what they did. And I didn't take his advice, unfortunately. The one advice I did take was that a married woman should always have her own bank account. That advice I did take. So what advice would you give to young people, Luci?
I would give to them to really get to know what money looks like. How does it feel in your hands? How does it make you feel when you hold it in your hands and you feel it in your gut? What's your gut response? And if you don't like your gut response, if you're always feeling like, oh my gosh, money's dirty, money's disgusting, money's gross, money makes you evil, then really find out where is that and see if you can transmute that, because money is nothing more than an energy. Mm-hmm. It's an exchange. It's a lot easier than growing wheat and pounding it and creating bread to sell. It's a lot easier than exchanging grains or other devices. So it's a means of exchange so that we can have more and we can give more and we can also help other people and make an impact in the world.
I mean, it could just as easily be beads and feathers and anything, right? But it happens to be money, what we call money. So exactly, we need to have a good relationship with money, and just it's not the money itself; it's the things that we want money to do for us and for others.
Exactly.
And so if you can change how you feel about it, and reframe it in a new perspective, that's great advice. Do you think that do you do any financial advising?
I can do financial advising. I do have the training certification through SB, Small Business Administration, and FDIC for the Money Smart program. Mm-hmm. And I also was one of the helpers at school when we were teaching about money, finance, and I have a degree in financial services.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
I'm not certified as a financial services. I will not invest for you. That's not what I'm talking about, but I will be able to help you understand what's the difference between a money market and a stock market, and I can help you with the budgets and stuff too.
Awesome. We're going to a commercial break in just a moment. When we come back, I want to ask you, because I don't think I asked you where, I know that you grew up poor, but where did your money mindset come from? So we want to talk about that. And then we want to talk about bullying. You and Nicole have that in common. We can talk about those experiences. Don't go anywhere.
Frankie Cents and More. We'll be right back after we pay the bills.
It's words you never heard.
Man cannot live by bread alone. He must have his peanut butter. Peanut butter is a pate of childhood, and it's not just for kids, as dogs love it too. Last night I gave my dog a pill hidden in peanut butter. What's a word for a messy concoction that helps the medicine go down? Sliver sauce. Mice apparently prefer peanut butter to cheese when it comes to luring them into the trap. But there are even more practical uses for peanut butter. Peanut butter contains natural oils, which makes it perfect for removing all kinds of sticky things, like gum stuck in your shoe or in your hair. What's a word for the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth? Arachnophobia. And according to Barry Goldwater, if you don't mind smelling like peanut butter for 2 or 3 days, peanut butter is a darn good shaving cream.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
A common problem for older adults is loss of balance. The chance of mortality is much higher if you have osteoporosis and you fall and break a bone. So concentrate on exercises that build the muscles at the hip, abdomen, and back, because these help maintain your balance and support your spine. Pilates, Tai Chi, and yoga are all good exercise programs to include with your cardio work, because they help improve balance and flexibility and promote better awareness of the mind and body. Weight-bearing exercises, especially weightlifting, will build bone and can even help regain lost bone density. Add balance exercises to your workout now so that as you age, balance does not become an issue for you. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond. To hear other fitness and weight loss tips, visit our website at AnnetteHammond.com.
And we're back with Frankie Sense and More. If you don't have a money frog, maybe you want to go get a Feng Shui money frog. I got mine on Amazon.com, but there's Feng Shui stores all around. You can buy them online. I'm sure you can go into a store and get one that suits you, that resonates with you. We've been talking to Luci McMonagle just before we went to break, and she is our abundance breakthrough coach. Luci shared with us that she was brought up rather poor. So I wanted to ask her where her money mindset came from. How did you turn yours around?
I turned my money mindset around when I was in my early 20s. It was after I gave birth to my son, and he was just starting to eat solid foods. And I had to choose between eating crackers or feeding my baby. Mm-hmm. And I cracked. I never, ever let him go hungry. I was very, very slender back then. And I had to find a way out. And I made a vow to myself that no matter what, I would find a way out, because this is not a way I wanted to raise my son or live my life. And from there, all of a sudden, my mind started opening up. I started finding resources, teachers, mentors, and people that were able to help me. But I had to make the decision that if I do not change myself, nothing will change in my environment.
You know, life is very difficult for young people today. And I remember being a young mom, and I'd left my husband with 3 kids under 4. And I remember going to the market and going, okay, I've only got $2, so I bought a lottery, because I knew I just knew in my head I was going to win $20 and I'd have money to buy food. And I always had that belief, and it always worked out for me. So I was really lucky. I wouldn't tell other people to do that, because you don't know. But if you have that belief in you, that knowing, and I guess it's a premonition or whatever, you can do that. And I was really fortunate to do that. But thank God I got out of that situation, and I started to make some money. But it is difficult at times, and mothers will do anything to feed their children. And Nicole, you're a young mom. Mm-hmm. You know that. Yep, absolutely. You know that we'll absolutely sacrifice for our kids.
No doubt. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is great. That's great. But Luci, because you are a financial planner, and I'm looking at today's market, like the kids come out of school with $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 in debt from college. They can't even buy a house now without 25% down. Like that's, you're looking at $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 down on a home. Like, where are they supposed to come up with all this money? Like, how are they supposed to get it?
Well, one of the main things is, and I wanted to make sure that people know that I'm not a financial planner. I'm an abundance coach. I just have a financial services degree in business administration also. For the young individuals that are just coming out of college, they've got all of this debt. The best way to move out of the debt is preferably before they start taking on the debt, and see if they can find ways to go through college in order to not have to pay. How many scholarships can they apply for? Can they apply for college grants? Can they apply for delayed loans? What can they do to prevent the debt in the first place, or minimize it as much as possible? And then if you're already out of college, you've got $100,000 in debt, you're looking at, you want to start a family, you can't afford a house, and maybe you're not getting the jobs that you were hoping to get from your degree. That's when you really need to look at your belief system about the economy and how much you're being paid, and also consider doing some side jobs. What skills do you have that will empower other people, and can you start doing a little side gig? Make $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and then stash that money away.
Mm-hmm. That's the hardest part for a lot of people is that saving portion, because I could die tomorrow, so I should spend my money today. Like, what am I saving for that rainy day? But it really is important to have money stashed away for a rainy day, and I know that for a fact. But I wasn't really good at it as a young person. So what portion of income do you think people should put away?
I usually suggest that they put away about 10% of their income. They pay themselves first. Mm-hmm. And what I did when I was younger is every time I received a raise for working, I would take all of that money from my raise and I would put it in savings, which I turned into the stock market. Mm-hmm. And that once you have $100,000 invested, that's when you start gaining a lot of momentum.
Right.
And when you have $1 million invested properly and it's allocated properly, that gives you a 6-figure income right there.
What's the highest paying thing that you could put your money into? Do you know?
Well, right now things are things are pretty unstable right now.
Right. Yeah.
The best way to do is make sure you work with somebody who is able to have a good track record, and they can tell you where your age is right now depends on what you invest in. Mm-hmm. So if you're getting close to retirement, you're not going to be in the stock market. You're going to be in a safer, more conservative means of investing. If you're younger and you're going to be retiring in 40, 50 years, then you have more flexibility. So it really depends on where you're at.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, what your risk adversion is. Mm-hmm. If you have high risk aversion, then you might not want to be in the stock market, because the stock market is like a roller coaster. If you look at the stock market every day, and if you follow the Dow Jones and you get panicky, that's not a good place to invest your money.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. I'm the person that goes to Vegas and just, expects to win and walks away. Just before I left Vegas, I went, oh wait, I lost some money. I need to go make some money before I go home. And I did it. And it was like crazy. But can you tell I'm a high risk person? Not very good.
Yeah. Stock market wouldn't be that bad for you as long as you don't look at it every single month. And even when you are in the stock market, if it's going to be over a 5 to 10 year period, preferably 10 years, usually you get more than enough. And on average, if you invest about 15 years, if it's allocated properly and your portfolio is rebalanced accordingly, then you usually average about 7 to 8% for return.
Okay, so that's considered good, 7 or 8%.
These days, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the 90s, 13, 14, 15% was really good. When Reagan was in, you could get a CD, which was through the banks and totally insured, and you would get 23%.
Wow. That was awesome.
Yeah. It was awesome, but the mortgages were at...
That's true. They were really high.
%.
Yeah. So, I remember that. I remember that. Nicole, does it cost a lot of money to get into pageantry?
It can. It definitely can.
I mean, your dresses, but to actually say, okay, I'm going to sign up and be part of your pageant. Do they charge you? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. There's an entry fee, just like any other sport or activity. You pay your entry fee. And different pageant systems have different prizes, some of them being money. If you're younger, some of them being scholarship money. That's why it's wonderful, because there's so many sponsorships. There's so many opportunities to make partnerships to help you pay for some of these pageants or clothing. Most organizations have a nationals week, and that can get expensive. You're clothing yourself for a week or two. So yeah, absolutely, it can definitely get expensive, but there are definitely ways to
offset that.
Exactly.
Nice. So how did you decide, or did somebody decide for you? Said, hey, you know what? You should enter Mrs. Illinois.
It's really funny. I when I used to dance on the Level Bulls, which is the Chicago Bulls cheerleading, I had a couple girls who were back-to-back Miss Illinois USA. And I always thought that was so cool. And the things that they were doing and the lives that they were touching was really impressive to me. So it kind of was always in the back of my head, but I never was involved in pageantry younger. This actually was my first experience with pageantry as a Mrs.
Wow.
So I researched some pageant systems, and I came across the International Pageant System, which is a system that places a very large emphasis on platform. So each woman competing is able to promote a cause that she's really passionate about, everything from agriculture to postpartum depression. And that was really important to me. And that really helped me develop the work that I'm doing today, and really helped me develop that feeling of being part of something bigger than yourself.
Right. Yeah. So, Luci, have you ever, thought about when you're watching those pageants, like, where do these girls come from? Like, who are they, and why are they doing what they're doing?
No, I actually never thought about who they are or where they're coming from. I'm always amazed at how incredible they are able to walk on the stage, and
the poise and
the poise and the proper mechanics, using their body mechanically, beautifully and gracefully.
Yeah. And you sit there and you go, how come they got to be so lucky and so beautiful and so talented?
I have to be honest. For most of us, it's not a natural thing. There's a lot of practice and hard work that goes into that. Just like any sport or activity, the more you practice, the better you are. So it's been a really great learning experience, that's for sure.
What did your husband think?
My husband is amazing. He's really supportive of me and my endeavors. He thinks, a happy wife, happy life. I think that's his motto. So he was really excited, for me to take this on. I'm not exactly sure that we thought when we were going into it that I would be successful in pageantry. I think that we thought this would be a great stepping stone for what my ultimate plan and goal is. So I think we've been really pleasantly surprised and extremely blessed this year.
And what is the ultimate goal now that you open that door?
Yeah, absolutely. I really would love to grow my organization.
Okay, the Be Kind one?
The Be Kind, Make a Difference, yeah. And I hopefully, I have a book that I just started writing, and I want to finish that by summer. And I hopefully want to inspire people who want to make a difference in their communities. And I think that's where it all starts, is volunteerism. You don't have to have money to put in time. You don't have to have money to do good. And ultimately, that is my goal, is to raise awareness that way and to continue on with the work that this pageant really got me started with and really got the ball rolling. So I have that to thank for it.
That's wonderful. We're going to go to a commercial break in just a little bit. And when I come back, I want to talk to both of you again about bullying. And Luci, maybe you can share your bullying story with us, and how that came about, and how it changed your life and what you're doing, forward with it. And just curious, did you ever get in touch with Gabby? Did you guys hook up ever, Nicole?
Gabby?
Yeah.
No, I reached out to her, but I haven't heard back yet.
Okay, great. I'm sure that you will. I thought I saw a note from her to you, so
great. You know what? I did. I'm sorry. I did get that note, yes. So we're kind of playing. I think we have a phone conversation coming up in the next week.
Okay.
Right back after we pay the bills.
It's words you never heard.
State fairs offer wonderfully wild and wacky summer foods, from chicken fried bacon in Texas to Minnesota spaghetti and meatballs on a stick. There is something about dining at the fair that can make anyone an opsomaniac, or a person who is driven to the point of madness by food. State fairs are famous for their liverwort, or food with no nutritional value. The California State Fair boasts fried Krispy Kreme chicken sandwiches. That's fried chicken and Swiss cheese tucked into a Krispy Kreme donut served with a side of honey sauce. At the Iowa State Fair, you can enjoy a hot beef sundae. That's a big scoop of mashed potatoes over roast beef, covered with gravy, sprinkled with cheddar cheese, and garnished with a cherry tomato to look like a sundae. What's another word for messy food? Mawella.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Word.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
Ignoring joint pain will not make it go away, nor will avoiding motions that are uncomfortable and spark discomfort. Harvard Medical School states that the secret to joint pain relief is exercise. Doing the right exercises on a continuous basis can relieve pain and might even permit you to postpone or avoid surgery on a problem joint. But the benefits don't stop there. Being active sharpens your mind and benefits your heart. Harvard says that it nudges your blood pressure down and your morale up, eases stress, and shaves off unwanted pounds. But most importantly, it lessens your risk of dying prematurely. So what are you waiting for? Exercise helps relieve joint pain and so much more. Pain-free movement and a fabulous quality of life await you. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond.
And we're back to Frankie Sense and More. I am your host, Frankie Picasso. Before we went to break, I think I put Nicole on the spot. I mentioned Gabby. Who is Gabby? Gabriella Von Ray. And Gabriella, if you remember, has been on the show several times. She is the queen of kindness, and she is the one who says that humanity has dropped the ball of kindness, and we need to pick it up. So that's who she is, and I didn't want to leave you with that random thought. And I did want to mention that Luci McMonagle has a new book coming out, probably by May, and it's Magical Money Manifestation. And is there anything you want to say about that book, Luci?
Absolutely. The Magical Money Manifestation is a practical guide to help you bridge your spirituality with practicality, so that you can have more money, more freedom, and more joy in your life. And it gives you the step-by-steps that I took to break through my negative mindset story and my money story to make it positive and to have life flow for me.
Nice. That's great. What's your website, Luci?
My website is lucimcmonagle.com. That's LuciMcMonagle.com.
And Nicole, you may as well give yours as well.
Sure. My website is bekindmakeadifference.com.
Nice. Bekindmakeadifference.com.
Yeah.
So before we went, I've said it a couple of times now, Luci, we want you to share your story. And it's great timing because, like you said, with your book coming up, how you overcame some, tragic stuff and how you overcame your money mindset. So tell us, when did the bullying start for you?
Oh my gosh, the bullying started when I was just a child in school, grade school. My mom had to move to several different schools, and every time I went to a new school, the kids were like, "Oh, who's this new kid on the block?" And "Oh, she's kind of funny. She's got this curly blonde hair, and she looks like Miss Beasley." If you were old enough, you might remember Buffy and Jody.
Oh, yeah.
I looked like Miss Beasley.
Oh.
So the bullying started back in grade school, and a lot of it continued kind of through high school. And as an adult, I've had employers who would bully me. In my last position, my employer's wife was the bully.
Really?
Yeah.
And so how did you handle that? How do you handle bullies?
Now I basically tell them, I'm sorry, but that behavior is not acceptable to me. And I point them out why. I mean, I do it in a very kind manner. I don't say, I just let them know, hey, that really hurt my feelings, and this is why. And I try to work through it with them if they're workable, because sometimes people are not even aware that they're being bullied.
Right.
They're being
a bully.
Yeah, they're being a bully.
So it's really about you setting your boundaries about what behavior is acceptable and what's not, what you're going to tolerate and what you won't, and how you expect people to act around you. That's good. We all need to do that.
Yeah, I think, earlier you had asked me, what causes somebody to be a target of bullying. And, it is sometimes those really nice people. It is really those people that they know they're not going to get a roar out of, that they know that they can keep poking with a stick because they're not going to really get that big, huge, dramatic response, but they're just feeling good about themselves. They can continue to keep poking. But, and like she said, it's so important to set those boundaries. And for some of us, it's hard to do. You feel silly setting boundaries for your own, how you want to be treated. And that's something that we all need to get over.
It's funny. We do it and we don't even know we're doing it sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like, my daughter-in-law is very, very skinny. Mm-hmm. And, sure, lots of overweight people get bullied and laughed at, but she feels like she gets bullied all the time because of why don't you eat? Why don't you eat more? Why don't you? And she eats a ton of food. And
it goes both ways.
She can't gain weight. And so she, I've seen her in tears before because people go, oh my God, you're so skinny, and so it does go both ways. And they're well-meaning and they're not trying to be mean by it, but I guess after you hear it so many times, it's like you're so sensitive to it that it feels like bullying.
And that's so true. It's, it's those things that we kind of have that we're sensitive to. Maybe, we were called like flamingo legs when you were growing up, things like that. So, those never go away. And then when you're an adult and someone says, oh gosh, you should eat a cheeseburger, you take offense to that a little bit. And maybe they, like you said, maybe they don't mean to hurt your feelings, but comments like that kind of, they sting a little bit. So sometimes you need to be like, I understand where you're coming from, but those comments really bother me in a joking manner. You don't have to get serious with them. And that kind of puts them in their place a little bit and lets them know where your boundaries are. Yeah.
Have you ever told somebody that they're being a bully and they were like shocked that they really didn't know?
Yeah, I mean, and this is me personally, telling a story. I've been in charge of a lot of dance teams. I've been a captain for a really long time. And my husband and I were just talking about this. And my husband asked me, do you ever think you were a bully? And that was really interesting to me because I do definitely think that I was a bit harsh. I was more concerned with having a perfect team, having a perfect squad, having the perfect girls out on there, that I would maybe say things not in the most tactful way. And that would probably hurt some people's feelings. And I never meant it personally. But now looking back, I think there are so many things I could have done differently, being done to me. But there are definitely times where I come across and like, the way you're saying that is not, I think there are other ways that you can get your point across by the way that you're saying that. And most of the times, if they are true bullies, they will be, they'll start with you. They'll take offense to that instead of being like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it. They'll be like, no, I didn't. No, I'm not. They're not going to come right forward and say, you're right, I'm being a bully, I will change.
Right. Yeah.
I wish it was that easy.
Do you think, like with shows like Mean Girls and things like that, do you think that the lack of, I'm going to say manners, like, when I was growing up, and I guess, Lucy, you're probably similar age group then, if you remember Mrs. Beasley, manners were very important and we were taught manners. But we're not taught manners today. And I know that unless as a parent you teach your child manners, they're not going to get it in school. They're not going to get it anywhere. Even just, being polite. And we went from thank you to having to stand up when somebody came in a room to standing up, can I clear a table? All of these, finesse little things that, went on, let's say charm school or whatever you want to call it. But manners aren't taught today. And it's so evident when you watch TV or you talk to some young people, it doesn't enter their brain to even say thank you. We had to write a thank you note if somebody gave us something. It wasn't just say thank you. It was, you had to sit down and do that. So do you think that not thinking about manners promotes some of this behavior?
I think that's a really interesting point. I think you brought up a few good points. One, I think that these are things that are learned at home by your parents. I think that you're either taught these things or you're not. It's not like you just pick it up at school. Unfortunately, the kids kind of pick up, the bad habits at school. I wish they would pick up the other things. And I also think it comes down to teaching your young children about empathy and kindness, and to treat people the way you want to be treated. To show appreciation for people that you truly appreciate. And I think that those are things that sometimes we miss these days because we're so caught up on being academically successful. We're so caught up on being head of the class. We're so caught up on preparing them for college that we jump right over the things that make successful people likable and caring and empathetic. And it's something so simple as teaching people to be kind to one another. So simple.
What do you think, Luci?
I have to agree with that. And it is really as simple as teaching individuals how to treat other people and to be kind with one another. And I do agree that a lot of the mannerisms that we learned they're no longer prevalent these days.
Like, people just say what they think. Like, there's no filter.
Yeah, that is very true. That is absolutely true. And in a way, that's great. We should be able to speak our minds and what we want to say, but there's a way to go about it. And I think you're right.
Exactly. There's a time and a place, and there's a way to say it, like you said.
Sure.
Even though you're thinking it, you might not want to say it.
Right,
So,
and it comes down to respect, I always go back to this, and I'm not perfect, I have to remind myself too, would you want someone to say that to you, and those are things that I constantly have going in my head, just to be sensitive to people's boundaries, because everyone's are different.
Talk about finances. I know so many girls, especially girls my age, who thought that they were dumb and couldn't do math, only because it was a math teacher in school who said, oh, you're too stupid.
That's really funny that you say that. That's actually a personal experience that I had that I'm actually talking about. Is in fourth grade, I had a really hard time learning math. It was like almost like a different language to me. And I'd always been involved in extracurricular activities. And just this particular day, we got to wear our cheerleading uniforms to school to celebrate homecoming, something so silly. But I couldn't get the problem at the board, and I was humiliated. I, looked over to the teacher for help, and I said, Mrs. So-and-so, I just don't know it. And I was crying. And she kind of shunned me off and said, well, maybe next time when you come to school, you'll bring your brain instead of your cheerleading uniform. Go sit down.
Yeah, that's pretty rude.
Oh, the whole class erupted into laughter. And I'll never forget that. I'll never, ever, ever forget that. And I'm not saying that is the reason for my problems with math.
No, but but they are. And so this block goes up, and then as an adult, you look at it again, you go, I'm not stupid. I can do this. Nobody just showed me how to do it properly. That's all.
Exactly. And it's one of those things that you're like, well, I never volunteered again out of the fear of being humiliated like that again.
Yeah. Well, we've got 2 minutes left in the show. Let me just thank both of you for being guests today. It's really wonderful to have you be in the inaugural 2017 show. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for having us. This was wonderful.
I hope that everybody will go and visit Luci's site and Nicole's website. There's nothing, we want to be kind and we want to make money. And who doesn't want more joy in their life and more money in their life? That'd be nice. You can tell just by listening to Luci, her manner. She's probably a wonderful teacher, and her story is going to resonate with so many people that, go out and find your own, figure out your own money story. And why wouldn't you want to be successful? We all want to be successful in whatever we do. Nicole, I wish you all the best with your Be Kind campaign. And, I really do hope that you're able to reach a ton more people, and congratulations on your win in 2016 for Mrs. Illinois.
Thank you so much.
That's really great. It's wonderful. Everybody who's, you're listening today, thanks again for tuning in. I hope we'll see you again next week. I know that we will, because you guys are great. And I don't know who our guest is going to be, but they're going to be amazing. Don't worry. Talk to you. And thank you, Ben. Thanks for being our tech today.
See on the beat, Hit Rash Production.